A big win for Baldoni.
A big win indeed. Now listen, my thought is I want to believe Taylor Swift is a good person. Don't hate me for that. But here's what Billy Bush had to say. Look at him coming in with that hair.
Taylor thought she was out of this thing. She wasn't going to have to appear in court. She didn't have to be a witness. But now her text messages with Blake are fair game. That's a big move. Okay, and he said as long it has to do with the movie, it has to do with the film and the situation. But imagine if Blake is in there going, "Oh my God, I'm totally gonna roll this loser." He's like, man bun guy. Like, please, Ryan and I are totally gonna produce this. Colleen likes me so much more. And if Taylor is in there corroborating, egging on, enabling, or anything like that, I mean, it's gonna be bad. This could be the most important element of the whole. It could reveal everything about intention.
Did Blake Lively just drag Taylor Swift into her legal mess, only to beg the court to protect her from the consequences? Because that's exactly what it looks like.
Taylor Swift, here's some news getting dragged back into the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. A judge ruling just yesterday that Baldoni can have access to messages between Swift and Lively, who had been close friends. Lively previously claimed Swift had knowledge of the working environment on the film It Ends With Us. No comment at this hour from Swift or Baldoni. Lively, meanwhile, is suing Baldoni for alleged sexual harassment and retaliation. Told People magazine she will, quote, continue to call out Baldoni's relentless efforts to exploit Miss Swift's popularity, close quote.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Gossip Daily, your home for the juiciest Hollywood chaos. And today, we've got a front row seat to the absolute meltdown happening in Blake Lively's legal camp. All thanks to a Taylor Swift twist no one saw coming.
Judge Lyman dismissed Justin Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively. People thought, aha, big win for Blake, but you knew it wasn't over. Brian Friedman said it wasn't over, and it's definitely not over. So the judge is now allowing Brian Friedman and the defense's request to see the text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift.
Blake Lively's legal team is in full-blown crisis mode after court documents exposed a wild contradiction for months.
The judge has ruled officially on what is going on with this protective order when it came to the text with Taylor Swift, and there was one lovely quote here. Deadline covered it as well, but just saying, given that Lively has represented that Swift had knowledge of the complaints or discussions about the working environment in the film, among other issues, the requests for messages with Swift regarding the film and this action are reasonably tailored to discover information that would prove or disprove Lively's harassment and retaliation claims.
They claimed it was the defendant's Wayfair trying to bring Taylor Swift into the lawsuit. But now, we've got receipts showing Blake herself as the one who put Taylor front and center.
Are you responsible for getting that Taylor song in the trailer?
I mean, she was
so perfect.
She was with me throughout this whole process. So I think that, for better or worse, she was, experienced the whole thing with me.
Let's rewind. Blake amended her legal disclosures and officially listed Taylor Swift as a witness. Yes, the same Taylor who Blake previously claimed had no involvement. And not just casually, Blake said Taylor had direct knowledge about the set, the creative process, the film's editing, and even her emotional distress. And suddenly, boom, Taylor Swift becomes legally part of this case.
So right there, Blake, you started it, you said it, and that's why it's coming in. And to me, that's the most important thing of all of this, because I hear all the time people say, Justin dragged her into this. No, I think Blake did, in starting with that dragon text. Calling her, little monster type thing of hers and that type of thing. And no, she has been brought into this by Blake this whole time, and it is completely reasonable for Justin to want to know her side of the story.
Wayfair saw that move and pounced. They argued, you brought up Taylor. You said she has relevant information. So now we want to see the messages.
Yeah, I think that's so crucial because everyone keeps trying to say Justin dragged Taylor in, how dare he? And no. Blake did all of that. And that's why Taylor's not supporting her anymore. You can tell. I mean, obviously speculative, assuming that's my opinion. But from everything that we're seeing, it's becoming clearer and clearer that Taylor Swift is crying out to the world, no, I am not your dragon. So I thought how fitting to talk about this, because the more I see it, the more look, I'll be honest, I was a little worried because I was like, the other day there was news about the judge dismissing things, and then there was an order that came in from Blake's side. There was press that Taylor Swift's lawyer said he never gave Blake anything, and they withdrew. And I was like, well, what is this? Does that mean there's no evidence from Taylor? But today's notice to me proves they're getting what they wanted, which was, yeah, we're allowed to get those texts. And now the thought of getting those texts must be making Blake want to climb off a mountain
But Blake's team panicked just minutes before a scheduled meeting to discuss it. They rushed to court and filed a motion for a protective order, begging the judge to block Wayfair from getting any of Taylor's communications. Why the emergency move? Because according to Wayfair's attorney Kevin Fritz, Blake's team already knew Taylor's side said no such messages existed, and yet Blake still added Taylor to her disclosures. You see where this is going, right?
We have learned that Blake Lively's deposition date is very soon. Today, Wayfair had filed a response to the Taylor Swift protective order, and in that response, we learned that Blake Lively's deposition date is June 23rd of 2025. So really soon. So let's talk more about Wayfair's response about the protective order. So Wayfair's attorney, Kevin Fritz, responded to the motion Blake Lively had filed, and she asked the court for a protective order which would let her avoid sharing private communications, including those with Taylor Swift. And in their filing, Wayfair is asking the court to deny Lively's request to withhold the messages, force her to share documents related to her claims of SH and retaliation, her communications with Taylor Swift, Sony, and her talent agency WME, and any evidence supporting her claims of economic damage. Lively had claimed that they already had communications with Taylor Swift, but Wayfair says they do not, and that her team already knew this. Kevin Fritz says that Lively's team refused to talk things through before filing the motion, even though they had a scheduled meeting. Fritz says this is wasting court time and could have been handled more easily if they had talked it out first. So basically, they want the judge to make Lively hand over the communications and documents as part of the legal discovery process.
Judge Lyman wasn't here for the games. He ruled that parts of Blake's request were denied, while others were granted, but the damage was already done. The court agreed that Wayfair had every right to ask for communications involving Taylor if Blake's own disclosures said Taylor was involved. But Blake's side says, wait, Taylor was only mentioned because of a quote from some anonymous insider claiming Wayfair already got what they wanted. Yeah, no name, no proof, no credibility. And then comes the classic celebrity legal move, the blame game.
Kim is like, yeah, Taylor's probably trying to stay out of it. We didn't give him anything. We're not going to give him anything. The judge is going to order it. And if they do, we will not stop you. We will hand deliver it to you at that point, because now they have to give them to him. And if that text is there and Taylor drops off just that text, it's going to be a massive, no towards this case. Yes. That's malice. It's everything. I don't see how that doesn't change the whole everything, because it goes to show that there is malice and that she was knowingly doing things wrong, and all that defamation that the judge threw out so easily and quickly. To me, all of this could be massively important in an appeal, which makes me wonder, is that why Baldoni's team, everybody has been getting nervous since this was thrown out, why they're all sort of sitting me like, no, just wait, guys.
Blake's lawyers now say Wayfair is to blame for dragging Taylor into this, that the quotes are misleading, and that they're only defending themselves from Wayfair's smear campaign. But wait, it gets better. Blake's team tried to strike a deal. We'll give you some stuff, but only if you give us all of your footage first. Wayfair didn't bite. They said they'd release their documents by the July 1st deadline. They're not into this you go first game, because guess what? Discovery isn't a trade. If you've got evidence, you have to turn it over, period.
What's happening, to the extent you can tell us, with Taylor Swift? Because there was some reporting that you wanted to get the text messages between Blake Lively and Taylor, and that there was a potential for subpoenaing Taylor Swift, in this case, via document subpoena to get her texts and possibly even a deposition. And then that her father allegedly came to you and said, I will tell you what's in the text, and the reason I'll tell you is because Blake Lively's threatening my daughter, Taylor Swift, that if she doesn't speak out on Blake Lively's behalf.
I think the judge has made it very clear that, third parties need to be directly relevant to claims. And we think certain third parties are directly relevant, but it's just whether or not you need that evidence in addition to what you have already. Those who have looked at the timeline, those who have looked at all of the documents that have been put forth. There's more video evidence. I mean, there's video of this is a film shoot. right? Like there's filming of the film shoot.
Let's be honest. Blake Lively's team is scrambling. They're trying to make it look like they didn't mean to involve Taylor, that it was all a misunderstanding. But court filings say otherwise. They named Taylor Swift. They say she had knowledge of misconduct, emotional distress, creative involvement, all stuff Taylor's team has publicly denied. Wayfair says Blake's trying to confuse the court. And if you read the filings, it's chaos accusations, delays, backtracking, and a whole lot of finger pointing. Oh, and remember Ryan Reynolds. The judge ruled he's not part of this case anymore. So no, Wayfair can't demand discovery from him, at least for now. But Blake's team is also being forced to hand over information about reporters and content creators they may have worked with, because Blake's claiming there's a coordinated smear campaign. Here's the twist. Just talking to the media isn't a crime. It's not even defamation unless you lie with malicious intent. And when you're a public figure, proving defamation is a mountain to climb. So let's recap. Blake Lively names Taylor Swift as a key witness, then tries to shield her communications. Wayfair calls her out. The judge half agrees, and now Blake is spinning in circles, trying to explain why she brought up Taylor in the first place. It's giving panic. It's giving cover-up. It's giving legal gymnastics. Blake may still get that protective order, but one thing's for sure. This isn't the calm before the storm. This is the storm. And if this is how Blake handles Taylor Swift being name-dropped once, imagine what's coming if those messages actually get unsealed. What do you think? Is Blake Lively trying to hide something, or is this just Wayfair turning up the heat? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you love the tea. And don't forget to subscribe to Gossip Daily for your next dose of Hollywood drama. Until next time, stay nosy, stay messy.